different weird time to start my stream today, but I thought, what the heck? Hope you guys actually saw Loki's Morning of Mischief, where I think I talked to Zerov, but I was on there for the morning show Wednesday, Ladies' Day, so it was a lot of fun. Nothing huge to report, but Mandalorian 3, Season 3, does start filming. I gotta watch the dog, and we're under a tornado watch. Mandalorian Season 3 does start filming in September. And Kenobi wrapped, and Andor wrapped in July like I thought it did. So, Disney's getting a lot more content. Hey, Coffees and Corban. Good afternoon, Jeremy. How are you? Hey, nice to meet you too. So anyway, if you're new to the chat, feel free to yap, talk, ask questions. I just kind of ramble here because I can. But I just wanted to jump in and just do something at least for a half hour, 40 minutes or whatever. Talk about a little bit about Star Wars. So 3 streaming shows, Afternoon Bell, are happening, as we can see, as we know, and one's gonna, like I said, Mando season 3 is gonna start filming in September, and oh, thank you, Coffee, and Kenobi and Andor wrapped. Now a lot of people have kind of, I have to look at the dog because he's over there and I don't trust him. Okay, all right, thanks, Coffee. And if you hit the like button on the way out, that'll help my algorithm. Thank you for stopping by. A lot of people are having their issues with Andor. I want to say this. I watched Rogue One again when I was on the elliptical, and I watched most all of it the last 2 days. In fact, I'm working up to being an hour on it now. I gotta say, as far as the show is concerned, I like it. I like that movie a lot, and I think this is going to be a good show. Not necessarily because Cassian Andor is an interesting character, but because of the time period, the background of the rebellion, and we're getting a little more with the Bad Batch, but it's only a little slice of what happened to the clones after Palpatine took over. And we all, I mean, there were humans in suits in the stormtrooper armor. I think Andor is going to be very interesting. So I'm going to encourage people come into it with an open mind. It's not that the character is so interesting. Maybe this will help the character get more interesting. I'm not a huge Diego Luna fan. They could have probably had a better actor play him, but whatever. We got what we got. Rogue One was a good enough movie that it should make you curious about how things started from that section. And I look at Andor as being something that might spring other shows, like a Han Solo show, like maybe one about Vader, because I think Vader's going to be in it. Hey, Dave. In fact, I'm going to predict right now we are going to see Darth Vader in Andor. We are probably going to see the Emperor. Don't be surprised if Han Solo shows up. Okay, I'm not kidding either. Not Alden Ehrenreich. Okay, not awful. It'll be somebody else. When they brought the deep fake artist, see, here's the deal. I think Disney, I think Dave Filoni, I think the people that know what they're doing there, and especially Jon Favreau, know the fans really want consistency. And when you take Alden Ehrenreich and set a side-by-side picture of him and Harrison Ford, it's like, you can't. It is literally like Sebastian Stan is only a step up to Mark Hamill, and I think we're probably going to see a Luke Skywalker TV series. I really, really do. And I think we're going to get a Hans. I think if Doomcock is right, and I do believe he is, howdy, Mad, and I think he is. I really, really do. I think that Solo has been put into the what if category. I think a lot of people on the other side who really are enamored of Quira. What the fuck is her name? I mean, how do you pronounce that? And Soilo. You know, they have it. They can have their little fantasy world. The show, that is not anything to spring other character TV shows from. We're going to probably see something completely different. And I think Andor is probably going to spring that, a different version of Han Solo. Okay. But I also think we're going to get a Vader. We might get, because I think Cassian Andor's character is a spy. That's what he is. So the idea that Cassian Andor in his travels wouldn't necessarily run into Han Solo is ridiculous. Okay. The rebellion would hire people like Han to move people around, you know, move ammo and weapons and other things they need. Okay, it would not be above the Alliance to hire smugglers to do that. It'd be the only way they could. And the reason why I say that is because you're trying to keep things under the nose of the Empire. Okay? You're going to hire people who are not legit to move your weapons, your personnel around. Okay? Because these guys, that's what they do, is they move things that are prescribed. Okay. They're moving prescribed. Yeah, see, and that's the thing, is that, yeah, you're right, Space Windu. And that's why I think we're going to see Han. No, I don't, Jeremy. You see, here's the deal. People don't understand what they're looking at. I mean, you guys look at Mando like it was, you know, 1 in a million shot. You guys are forgetting who's running Kenobi. For all intents and purposes, it's Jon Favreau, Deborah Chow, his girl, his handpicked director is the one directing it. Okay? And I think we would know if it was going to be bad if we had any leaks, and we haven't had any. That is a good sign. Okay? You look at Andor. We haven't had any leaks from that either. Okay? So I think this says that there's somebody new in charge. Okay? So stop worrying. Okay? Stop it. And of course, Mando 3, it's probably going to be about, I have to look and see what the dog is doing. It's probably going to be about Cassian Andor, Din Djarin, and his issues, whether he wants them or not, with Bo-Katan, and the liberation of whatever's left of Mandalore. That should be interesting. It's not part of Star Wars that I was ever interested in, but I'm becoming more interested in it. What else? So I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to Kenobi. I mean, I loved how Inside Disney posted this hyperbolic headline saying, "The most important Star Wars show since A New Hope, Kenobi, wrapped filming." And I'm like, the only reason why it's important is if you guys fuck Obi-Wan up, you know it's over. All right, they know it's over. Because, it's like Han was the guinea pig to fuck it up. Okay? Now everybody sees. They ignored it once, and then they saw what happened to Luke. Well, I don't worry. I mean, it's better to have to have a bounty of riches than it is to have nothing. Okay, I mean it really is. So, we have a lot to look forward to. Again, Doomcock hasn't said anything, even though he's probably where. Kojak, what are you doing? Like I said, we're under tornado watch, and he wants to go out in Rough House, and it's raining right now, so I'm a little bit worried. Jeremy Bell, the people who failed aren't running Lucasfilm anymore. They're not. Okay? All right. So stop. Stop worrying. It seems to me that there's a group of fans that need things written for them out explicitly to tell them what's really going on. And it's like, you're not going to get that. So stop wishing for it. I stopped, when I was on Loki's Morning of Mischief, I basically said this stuff with Jon Favreau started in 2018. That's when, if you remember back in the Wayback Machine, when Iger, and this is after Soilo came out and stunk up the joint, where Iger looked around and said, we need a change. And that's when this changes started. I think that's when the restructuring started. I really think that it's going to be a slow process. And there's a lot of shit still coming down the pipeline from the previous administration. Now, I also said this. I'm fairly optimistic that Kennedy won't be re-signed to another contract, which goes into kind of fits Kevin Feige's freak out, okay? I'm also not sure they won't re-sign her to another year. 1 year. Hail, Mike. And the reason why I say that is because Indiana Jones 5 is wrapping principal photography in October. I'm sure. Maybe, God help us, maybe later. Because there was an Italian newspaper account that they were going to be filming in Sicily in a few different areas. So I am fairly certain it's going to wrap in October. Her contract is up in October. And I can see her not re-signing a contract or not being renewed. I can also see Disney giving her 1 more year to finish the movie, because principal to photography is 1. Then they have to go into post-production, where special effects and the deep faking and all the rest of the stuff starts happening. And we also at Star Wars Celebration have been told that huge announcements are going to be made. And I think those announcements are a new regime at Lucasfilm. And it was so if she gets 1 more year, and they specifically say to finish this movie, it doesn't have anything to do with her touching Star Wars. Now, let's go to the Acolyte. I know Andre and Tom were going to do stuff about Kevin Smith and Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, but they didn't get to it. But I kind of think I know where they were going. And maybe if Mike is listening, he can jump in, because I think he knows he was part of that conversation. That rumor was started by none other than Mike Zero. Now, if you like going to that channel, that's fine. You have to understand is that, people give Doomcock shit, okay? with his rumors, but he always says take it with a grain of salt. I mean, he always couches it in this is a rumor. You don't have to believe it or not. This is what I've been told. Mike Zero hasn't done that, and he has never ever been right about anything. But I've also seen some people who have got a reputation for being right on stuff, being completely wrong. Like Darth Maul getting a series. Where is it? There isn't a Darth Maul series. And I don't really see anything on the horizon. And some other things. I don't, you know, there's absolutely no way right now that I believe Kevin Smith is getting anywhere near Star Wars. Okay. It's a rumor started by Mike Zero. It has gained traction. People are reporting on it. And oh yeah, you're right, Bill. And and he makes like I think he makes a lot of money. I mean, a lot of money with his YouTube channel. I mean, it's gross. I look at it as if Mike Zero says it, it's not true. Okay. He never ever cites a source, or he never says a one of my sources. So, I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. When the Rise of Skywalker came out, before it did, he didn't know what was going to happen on that movie. Doomcock did. He basically put out the whole plot. All right. So there you go. So my thing with that is, it's not worth talking about. It's not worth getting upset about. Kevin Smith is not going to be part of this show. If they really had to make an acolyte, I wouldn't doubt they'd even remove it from the Star Wars universe and just say if this is really something that has to be made, then it can't be part of Star Wars. I mean, just because it shouldn't be. I mean, I look and with the regime at Disney, I look at Bob Chapek looking at the bottom line and saying, there's absolutely no way in bloody hell that we are spending this budget on that show when nobody's buying these books, when we're not making any money on the stuff surrounding the show. Because apparently Acolyte is supposed to be attached to the High Republic, I think. Ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. Thing about Chapek, when you're looking at what's going on in the news, you've got the guy that Simu Liu, I think that's what his name is, the guy in Shang-Chi the Star, attacking Chapek over absolutely nothing. Chapek didn't say anything about Shang-Chi that was wrong. Okay. He said they wanted to see if the 45-day window worked. I also think that he's testing out to see just how bad Marvel's going to start bombing. Okay. That's a big deal. Okay. That is a really, really big deal. I'm going to say this. I think Disney would have been better off buying DC Comics than buying Marvel, because DC's got infinitely better material to work from. I mean, I don't think they've got better villains. I don't think there's a villain, I think, within the comic book world that's better than the Joker. I mean, I really don't. Very infinitely and more interesting characters. Disney could do so much with the good Superman. They could have done an enormous amount with Batman. Could you imagine Disney with a Gotham City and Metropolis? It would really be something to see, I think, and something for the fans. It's not that Marvel's bad, it's just that, in my opinion, the DC characters are more interesting because they're more human. You know, um, you know, I don't really look at it that way. I don't necessarily look at Disney's being bad. I look at the people that have been running it lately, mainly Bob Iger and his cohorts, as being the problem. Bob Iger not taking any. All right, he's not chewing anything up, thank God. Bob Iger not taking any, really any interest in what his studio heads were doing, being shocked and flattened by the reception TLJ got, and then being horrified by the fact that no one wanted Solo. You, you can't be that isolated from the world not to see the fans already grumbling after TFA came out. All right, you can't be that blind. All right, you just can't. And he was. So he's part of the problem. Also catering to the far left. That was a political move on his part. He's about as woke as my dog is. But in order to cater to the people who really actually are fanatics about it, who are Democrat primary voters, he at the time was going to cater to what they wanted and champion their causes. Even though, at night when he comes home, he throws off his suit jacket, goes, I hate those cocksuckers. But that is a politician. That's what they do. They're not genuine people, and Hollywood is no different than DC that way. So a lot of the problems that Disney's had has been the corporate environment and that rolls down from the top. It rolls down from Iger, and allowing Feige and Kennedy to get away with murder. I don't know. I mean, Resistance, it was such a stupid show to begin with. I don't really see anybody really, I don't even see the Wokestanians talking about Resistance. I really, really don't. I've never heard them talk. I don't even know who the characters are. All right, that's how bad the show was. And I'll tell you something. If you do something half-assed, that means you weren't interested. And when I look at Filoni being part of that, it was half-assed because he didn't like it. Okay, your work is going to reflect who you are in that instance. And Resistance was bad. It was just bad. It's really funny how, when I look at the characters that they created out of whole cloth, no one gives a shit about Poe Dameron. I'm sorry, but no one cares about Finn. They ruined that character completely. They didn't make Poe interesting enough to carry him forward. Rey is just a Rose Tico, and of course, Kyle Ron. I don't really know any fan who is a real fan who liked these characters. When you look at the people who did, they're not very well read in Star Wars. It's very easy to make, you put things with pretty pictures and bright lights flashing on and off, and it's like, putting something up to keep a 2-year-old happy. You know what I'm saying? There's no substance to it. And it says a lot. It says a lot. I really don't know any kids who liked any of it. I really, really don't. And it's really fascinating to me to see Disney half-assed still attempting to sell the sequel trilogy like in the hotel. I'm not going to spend $6,000 at the hotel to have a villain that's not scary to me show up at my dinner. It's like, get the fuck out of here. Go! You don't scare me. It's not like walking into your room and having Darth Vader standing there. I mean, and getting an actor that in the suit can embody the fear that that character would generated when we were kids. I mean, like I said, when I watched Rogue One again, the hallway scene when Vader was boarding the Tantive 4 was terrifying in the theater. You can hear the alarm, and then you hear the respirator. And then all of a sudden, the lightsaber goes on. And he's standing there like, all y'all are dead, and you know it. It's a scary sight, and Vader should be intimidating, and he should be a part. If you're gonna do Star Wars, this is the focal point, because Star Wars is about Anakin Skywalker, and it's about how Anakin Skywalker became this tremendous, horribly frightening villain. Yeah, and that's one of the things is the thing that keeps him alive is one of the scariest parts of him, because you know who it is, and you know there's absolutely, in the mind of a victim or someone in that situation, there's absolutely no, okay, like the scene where he's talking to Krennic, and he's talking to him, and he's leaning into him, and Ben Mendelsohn's like this. He's scared. That was genuine fear. And it's very interesting to me that Disney wouldn't jump on that. And again, Star Wars is a dark story. It really is. But all fairy tales are. If you look at the original real fairy tales, Snow White, etc., Rose Red, all these fairy tales, you'd be shocked at how dark they are. They're dark, they're scary, they're not nice. They're not, it's hard to explain, but they're not, it's not something that is conducive to happy joy, yay, and all the rest of it. No, it's not. And Star Wars fits in that category. Because Anakin Skywalker's story is dark. It is. Luke's story is dark and not dark. And the same thing with Leia and Han. Okay, I think it is not windy, it is raining. And it's just barely breezy. But if the lights go out, I have to shut down. Okay, we're under a tornado watch. We're getting the crap kicked out of us with the rain right now. And this is kind of weird weather. It's normally dry here in central Pennsylvania. And we've just gotten the crap kicked out of us with the rain this last couple of weeks. And the lights are flickering. So if they go out, I gotta go. Anyway, but you want it dark. You want Star Wars to be dark. You don't want, oh yeah, Bill, yeah. And that's the thing is that if you're, that's why, and I've said this before, you don't cater to the kids with Star Wars, exactly. You cater to everybody. So if you're doing a Star Wars hotel, make it for the adults, okay? Let people cosplay. Don't give them a schedule. Let them do what they want. Okay? Let them enjoy themselves. Let them enjoy themselves. Don't cater to fans who aren't going to show up, who've never showed up. And the sequel trilogy fans don't show up. They really, really don't. A lot of people, like to say they do. They're sequel fans. I can think of a few, but they don't show up. They don't want to show up. Okay? They're not. It's really interesting to me watching all that and seeing how this plays out because I think Disney's always missed the point with Star Wars. The fan base that Kennedy said was going to be there's never ever been there, and they won't be there. Okay, they won't. And I think Bob Chapek understands that. Oh, hey, old redneck nerd. And I think it's going to be a long time with changing things. But Disney Springs, they don't sell any sequel trilogy merchandise. And I caught a certain big YouTuber basically admitting that they're not selling sequel trilogy merchandise anymore. And what they have just sits and is gathering dust. Pretty big deal, don't you think? They know, and it's going to be a long time to move that stuff away. It's going to be a long time before we see any result of what Favreau is attempting to do. And that's the thing. We've got 2 shows wrapped. Principal photography's done. 2 shows wrapped. We're looking now forward to Boba Fett. Okay, all right. Visions. I am not a fan of anime. I lived in Korea. I have been to Japan. Many of you guys know my husband did 2 years. He was deputy commander of Marine Corps Forces, Korea. So we did 2 years at Yongsan Army Air Base. I got quite a few bootleg DVDs. It's, it was, Asia is very interesting. You go there and I've been to the DMZ. I've been to the Blue House where they negotiate stuff with the North Koreans. They have my picture. North Korea does, because when we were in there taking the tour, these little tiny North Korean soldiers came up with cameras and started snapping pictures of us. So yeah, I'm like, you don't pose, you just ignore them. But I have stood in North Korea. I've been there. Not fully, I've been to the DMZ on their side. It's very spooky to go there. They're very, you get a not so, it's really interesting. You get sort of an oppressive feeling looking out at that base, or looking at their side. There's a village, a Potemkin village, not too far away on that side, where they have actors dressed in what they think is Western dress, walking around like in top hats and long dresses. They're trying to convince people in the West that that's the way North Koreans live. It's not. We all know that. It's very strange. This truly communist country is very, very strange. I've seen enough of Asia. Here's the thing about Asians. They don't like each other. That thing from Family Guy where God creates an Asian and said, and they all hate each other, and there's absolutely no reason for it. It's true. The Japanese hate the Koreans hate the Japanese. There's a history there. There's a reason. And the Chinese hate both of them, and they both hate the Chinese. There's a history there too. And you start to see the differences. Like, I can tell the difference between Korean writing, Hangul, and Japanese and Chinese. Japanese and Chinese is a little bit difficult, but Hangul is not. And I got exposed to anime, And I just don't like it that much. I was, so the only thing, like I said yesterday, the only thing that I'm really looking forward to is the fact that this won't be politically correct. This won't be SJW. One of the reasons why manga comics are selling and why anime is doing so well right now in the world is because there's absolutely no woke shit. The Japanese hate it. They hate it. But when you go to Asia, and this is for every culture, they're very patriarchal cultures. So Wokistanian crap doesn't sell. Okay, you know, Admiral Holdo wouldn't be well received and wasn't well received. Okay, so I'm thinking it's not going to be woke. The Japanese don't do woke. Sorry for saying that. The Japanese don't do woke. I'm not looking forward to the fact that one of the artists said, I wanted to explore what the galaxy was like after The Rise of Skywalker. And the only thing that keeps me from absolutely losing my fucking mind is because it's not canon. That's the one thing about Visions. It is not canon. Okay? It is not. It's one of the few things that has been filmed that is not canon. Okay? You can put it up with the Star Wars Holiday Special, Christmas Special, okay, that Lucas made. But I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm gonna watch the first episode, and just see where it goes. But I cannot wait for the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, and I think that's saying something. I really, really do. I think that Dave Filoni did the storyboards. Okay. I think that says a lot about where Lucasfilm leadership is right now with looking at Star Wars. There's a lot of material there, you know. You got people like Eckhart's Ladder and, Star Wars Explained and all the rest of those losers, mocking people for thinking that we're going to get a version of the Heir to the Empire. We are. We are. Here's the deal about filming a book like that. You cannot make this book verbatim if you film it. You can't. They're going to do exactly what they've done, what most of Hollywood does. They're adapting parts of it. They're going to take characters out of it, and they're going to fashion Ahsoka with it. Fashion her story and entwine it into what was going on with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Well, and that's, the Force book, the Yusalamiri, yeah, I mean, it's just evolution. It's just a weird, thing like that. I was going to say something. I had a point. Now I forgot it. It's just going to be very interesting to see where this goes. I really think that we're probably going to see a lot of spin-offs from Andor to fill out the Rebellion, the Age of Rebellion. Then we're going to get a lot of spin-offs from Mandalorian to fill out the Aftermath. Well, here's the deal about that. If you make a film that the diehard fans will like, the normies will like it. If you make something the diehard fans won't like, the normies won't like it. Yeah, I think so, Coffee. I'm just, when I think about what's they're doing, it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes. And I have a strong suspicion that this is all already mapped out. All right. I really, really do. Like this morning we talked about, the reason why George Lucas didn't show up to the Rise of Skywalker premiere. Because he had filmed a bunch of stuff with Abrams. They had a mock-up of the movie, showed it to the suits, and Kennedy had a stroke. And I'm going to say this. They didn't reshoot 40% of it. They reshot probably more than 60. Okay. Yeah, Pablo Hidalgo on Twitter talking about reshoots and how they're normal. Didn't reshoot anything for TLJ. They could be. I don't know. I've never thought of that. I always thought if they are doing a sort of kind of refashioned Heir to the Empire, that it would be very interesting to see Boba Fett and Han kind of facing off, and Boba Fett offering to hide Leia and the kids. I think that would be very interesting to me. But the book of Boba Fett is going to it's dark. Tamara Morrison said it was, and so did Robert Rodriguez. And I personally, I love Robert Rodriguez. I think he's one of the brightest directors out there right now. And I think watching what he did with Mando has been a lot of fun. So I really think that the book of Boba Fett's going to be great. But we'll see what they do. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is what we get to do. I feel like we have something to look forward to. And the fact that there are people at Lucasfilm that acknowledge that the fan base is not what Kennedy said it was. And I'm sure that, the big investors like BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street were going, you said those fans were going to be there. The books say they've never shown up. The numbers don't lie, because numbers don't lie. They never lie, okay? Now, I'll tell you guys a story, and then I'm going to leave. This is not Star Wars related, and it's really actually kind of funny. So this morning at 6, I wake up to our burglar alarm going off. My husband had just walked out the door. I got up like I was shot from a cannon, out of bed. I went to the safe, I grabbed my SIG, I loaded it, got the dog out of the kennel, and I did everything wrong, by the way, running around the house like this, screaming, get out of my house. So, yeah, I think it could. So, anyway, here's the miniature Wookiee right here. I turn off the alarm. I go through every room in the house. There's no one around. My husband calls and says, I tripped it. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did. He had set the alarm for 50 seconds so he could go into the garage, get into his car and leave. And the alarm tripped. And we can't figure out what's going on here. So we've got something going on with the alarm. I got to admit, when you're sound asleep and I was dead to the world, and something like that happens, you absolutely have no fucking clue what you're doing. Okay? I was scared shitless. I was pissed. I went out, and what's really weird is I was scared, but I was incensed. I was pissed. We've got this huge, where is he? Come here, Kojak. I'll show you what my dog looks like. Come here, Koj. Come here. Come here. Here's Kojak. This is Koji Woji. He is don't bite me now. Be a good boy. He is a 13-month-old Shiloh Shepherd. He weighs over 100 pounds. He's very intimidating. And to me, oh, thank you, Vicky. I don't know if someone broke into the house and was trying to hurt me and Rudy. I don't know how he'd behave, but just his presence here, I think, is a deterrent because he's big and he's a shepherd and he looks like a German shepherd. He's not, but his ancestry, the breed is from the German shepherd and the Malamute. He's just a very big guy and funny. He's hilarious. But you know, I did everything wrong, but I was mad. You've really got to practice for those things, train for those things. And I've never done that, but I looked at my husband and I said, I need to do some of that training because I forgot everything I was supposed to do. I was supposed to go to the closet, grab my shotgun, not the SIG, with the dog and wait. Instead, I'm running around the house like fucking Rambo. Not the way to go about it. Don't ever do that. So yeah, that was a fun morning. And then I was on Loki. It's just, this is a new house and, we're still working kinks out of it. It's, was built in 2018 or 2017. So it's still brand new. So we don't, anyway, going back to Star Wars. So Book of Boba Fett wrapped. Kenobi wrapped. Andor's wrapped. I've got a sneaking suspicion we're going to see a young Han Solo in Andor. There's absolutely no reason for him not to be in it. Like I said, the Rebels would be very, and they are. If you watch the TV show Rebels, they're very comfortable moving around the underworld. Okay, because you gotta remember, the people, the smugglers and the arms dealers and the rest of those people, they don't give a shit. They want to get paid. They're in it for the money. Okay, that's the thing. They don't, that's why I think we're gonna probably see Solo in Andor. And I wouldn't doubt we're gonna see him in the Book of Boba Fett. Okay, and it's gonna be really, really great. But I also, when I think about Boba Fett and the way he's being portrayed now, older, he's been through a lot, I think he's a different character now. I am too. I'm looking forward to being really happily surprised. Like, I always thought if they'd have done it right, you see Red 5 in Mando, when Red 5 goes flying back past the window. Oh yeah, in Andor, I know coffee. You see, Red 5 going past the window, and then you see the Falcon with it. And then you would have known it was Luke, but still would have been like, because who else is there. And it could have been Han and Leia and Chewie, not just Han and Chewie. But they have to, the biggest problem I have now is that stupid hotel. They don't know what they're doing. I can't imagine taking 2 kids and then having to put up with that schedule. You get to go to Batu. I don't want to go to Batu. I want to go to Tatooine. I want to go to Coruscant. I want to go to Mustafar. I want to go to Hoth. I don't want to fucking go to Batu. I don't even know. Batu sounds like a baby sneezing. Okay, I don't want to go there. That's not Star Wars. It's a dumpster fire. Get rid of it. But anyway, I gotta go. I've been on here for 50 minutes. I'm going to get a workout in. We are under tornado watch, so I will be in the basement on my elliptical, going along for some. Oh, I know. See that this isn't gonna work. They're gonna have to change that. That's ridiculous. I know. And if I was sitting there trying to eat and you know, Darth Emo showed up, I'd take his lightsaber and shove it up his ass, you know. Oh, I'd love to, Coffee. Yeah, if you go to the community page and you see the picture of my dog, I've got my email address there. I put that up so people would see it, and a lot of people haven't. But if you go to the community page, you can just look for the picture I posted of Kojak, and there it is. Anyway, gotta run. I'm losing my voice. I need to get a workout in. It's been a rainy, gross day. I don't even want to go up to the farm to go see the horse because it's just gross out right now. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you around the galaxy.